It's not about getting more money. It's not about getting more opportunities. It's not getting more. We are honoring what we have and what we've been given for the last 18 months. Back, Astro fam. The time has finally come for us to do our last eclipse video dealing with Scorpio and Taurus. So today we're breaking down the full moon lunar eclipse happening in the zodiac energy of Taurus. This has been a cycle of eclipses in the zodiac energies of Taurus and Scorpio for the last 18 months. And today is the final video talking about this energy. Now, if you're new to me, welcome. I'm Mandy Rose. I'm a relational astrologer. In my channel, I focus on helping you understand the cosmic weather to have better relationships. So in my new and full moon videos, I break down the overlying energy that you're going to be experiencing around this time. Then I'm going to dive into the specifics. What is happening in the sky? What are all the life coach planets up to? If you have your birth chart handy, I'm going to give you the exact degree points. You can look for that in your chart to see how it might be impacting you. I also give you some fun facts about the lunation that's happening that's unique to 2023. And then I'm going to be breaking down each rising sign and what relationships in your life are going to be heavily impacted by this lunar eclipse. And lastly, I'll give you some rituals and activities that you can do around this time to really work with and maximize this energy. Now, we're really talking about relationships in the month of October because we have two eclipses and both of them are ruled by Venus. And Venus is our life coach planet that deals with our relationships and actually all the things in our life that we love. So it deals with money and our material possessions, our creative projects, our feminine aspect, our ability to receive and flow and have abundance in life. Now, with Venus being the star of the show around the time of this lunar eclipse, we are really asking ourselves what relationships and what energy around them is it time to shift? Is it time to let go of? So let's start with the overlying themes, the energy that you can expect to feel as we move into this lunar eclipse and what kind of shifts you might be feeling. Now, remembering when we're dealing with eclipse season is a period of time. Most of the time when we talk about new moons or full moons that are not eclipses, the energy can be felt 3 days before up to 3 days after. But with eclipses, it's more potent. It's a new moon or a full moon on steroids. And so we can feel this energy sometimes for 2 weeks before to 2 weeks after. When we talk about eclipses, we're dealing with the nodes of destiny, the nodes of fate, the nodes of karma. These are big pivotal moments in our soul's journey, in our chapter in Earth School, where we are being guided to get back on track. So it's external circumstances. It's things happening around us and to us that are forcing us to make decisions and get back on track. So eclipse season can be very volatile or unexpected, chaotic, even terrifying. And so if you're feeling some of this energy coming up at this time, it's because we've already been feeling eclipse energy since the beginning of October. The eclipse portal opened on October 1st, right after the last full moon we had in Aries at the end of September. And so we've been feeling eclipse energy. By the time this full moon in Taurus is happening, we've already had a new moon eclipse in Libra back on the 14th. And so we are just vibing with it and changing the course of our destiny. So there's a lot going on right now. Now, remember, this full moon in Taurus is the final eclipse in this cycle. This cycle with Scorpio eclipses and Taurus eclipses has been going on since 2021. Yes, we had a full moon in Taurus back in November of 2021 that was an eclipse. Now, the nodes were not technically in Taurus yet. It was an out of sign eclipse, which is what we're experiencing right now, but it kick-started this energy. So I want you to think back to the fall of 2021, 2 years ago. What was shifting? What was changing? Where were you at in your life? Because now we're having a full circle moment. The things that were beginning, the phases of life, the people coming into your life, right? The relationships beginning are coming to a head, are coming to a close, are shifting in ways that's beneficial to the next chapter. As the nodes of destiny move now into Libra and Aries, it's already there. They've been there since July. We are now looking at the next chapter of our lives. Eclipses happen in cycles. They happen for about 18 months at a time in a certain area of your life. And then that chapter plays out and the attention and energy you've been given to a certain area of your life shifts into a new area of your life. And we're going through that transition right now. Now, we've already begun the new in Aries and Libra. So if you caught my last video, if you took the eclipse workshop, if you've been following any astrologer, you know where Aries and Libra is in your chart, because this is what you're focusing on for the next 18 months. But in order to do so, we have to have one final release, one final removal, let go once and for all so we can step into the new. Now, Aries is our main character energy. So really everything that's happening right now is for us to come home to ourselves, to find our own needs, our own wants, our own boundaries, to tap into what and who is it that we want in our lives and step into that once and for all. And now we're going to let go of Taurus. And I want to say this has been a really big cycle because it's been dealing with Uranus. Uranus is the planet of sudden jolting change, of liberation, of taking the shackles off, of blowing up your entire life very swiftly and suddenly, abruptly, unexpectedly, right? Uranus is that planet that is going to burn down your house if you've wanted to move to Spain forever. It's going to remove the obstacles in your life so you're set free. And because Uranus is in Taurus since 2019 and will be here until 2026, as the nodes of destiny, of fate, as these eclipses have come around this time, Uranus is here waiting for them. 19 years ago, when we went through the same cycle, Uranus wasn't here, that didn't exist. And in 19 years from now, when we go through this cycle again, Uranus will not be here. So this is a very jolting and shifting cycle that we've been through. So we won't be feeling that in the next cycle with Aries and Libra because Uranus is in Taurus and he won't be moving into Aries. So that's been really, really big. So know that these are karmic patterns that we're breaking around this time. We're having the final release and we're moving forward. Okay, so big, big things happening at this time. I want you to think about it this way. We're coming up to graduation, right? Because we're moving into a new eclipse cycle that's already begun. Aries and Libra energy has already started. So imagine you are coming up to the end of your career as a student, you're in college, or you're getting your doctorate, and you have to turn in that final paper, that final test, that final thesis that you've been working on for so long. And now is the moment where you're going to turn it in. And after you turn in that final project, that final hoorah, right? This is that final eclipse. Then you're going to graduate. You're going to become a professional. You're going to change your relationship to the world from student to maybe professor, from, student to lawyer. Like you're going to change your relationship into the world. And that's really what's happening at this eclipse. You're finalizing something, you're graduating, you've accomplished this thing, and now you're going off into the next chapter where you're going to be more of the main character in your life. So this is really exciting, but it's hard to let go, right? There's a fear of the unknown. And when you have something for so long, it just becomes comfortable and easy. And so this eclipse is really kind of that point where our soul is like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to look back and I want to move on to the next thing, even though it might be hella scary. So it's time to make the adjustment and it's time to shift forward. So that's kind of the overlying theme. We're going to kind of break this down a little bit deeper throughout this video, but that is just your overview. So let's break down the basics of this full moon so we know exactly when it's happening and where it's happening in the sky. So I'll pull up the chart here. This full moon lunar eclipse is happening in the zodiac energy of Taurus, meaning the sun is going to be in Scorpio, the moon directly opposite in the energy of Taurus. It is happening at 5 degrees of Taurus. You want to go ahead and look in your chart to see if you have any planets near 5 degrees of Scorpio or 5 degrees of Taurus. Now, this partial lunar eclipse is going to be exact, meaning the moon will be fullest and brightest in the sky at 4:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're going to want to go ahead and adjust that for your time zone. Now, remember that when we have the full moon exact, meaning it is biggest and brightest that it possibly can be in the sky, is not necessarily the exact time that the eclipse will be visible to us here on Earth. Now, not everyone on the planet is able to see every single eclipse, but the time that passing of the eclipse is not always the exact time of the full moon. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, at 5 degrees of Taurus, this is a very big part of the sky in 2023 because this area of the sky has already been impacted 2 times before by other planets. If you caught my astro forecast event for 2023, I talked about the fact that 5 degrees of Taurus is a very, very important part of the sky. So if you have any planets or anything from, let's say, 1 degrees of Taurus to about 9 degrees of Taurus, this has been impacting you. This has been an energy that has been manifesting itself in your life. Back in April and May, we had Mercury retrograde over 5 degrees of Taurus 3 times. So we went into 5 degrees, went forward, retrograded back to 5 degrees. We've had Mercury hit this 5-degree point of Taurus twice because he went retrograde. So it's where he started and ended his retrograde energy. Now, Jupiter currently started his retrograde in September and will retrograde all the way until December 31st, until the end of the year. And where he began and where he also is ending his retrograde energy is also at 5 degrees of Taurus. And now we have this final eclipse of this last 18-month chapter also at 5 degrees of Taurus. So this is an energy that has been building, and this is kind of that release and that forward momentum. So just keep that in mind. Check your chart to see if you have any planets in this area of the sky. So with that, I want to give you some fun facts about this full moon in Taurus that's happening in 2023 that makes it very unique. Now, we have a full moon in Taurus that happens every single year, but what's going on in the sky around it is unique from year to year. Now, yes, of course, it is an eclipse, but the last 2 full moons in Taurus, the one in 2022 and the one in 2021, was also an eclipse. So what else makes it unique? Well, pulling up the chart here again, we can see that there is a pileup of planets in Scorpio and Taurus. This is where all the eclipses have been happening for the last 2 years. So a lot of these areas of the sky have had changes and shifts and sudden, movement. And so at this final hoorah, it's like all the life coach planets have showed up to the party. All of them are sending us out with a bang. All of them are saying you've completed, you've graduated, you've learned lessons. It's time to move forward. It's time to shift things in your life. It's time for new relationships, new projects, new dynamics, new opportunities. It's time to move on. So there's kind of this final send off with all the life coach planets involved at the time of this full moon. So I really like that. In addition to that, what makes this one really unique and different from the last full moon in Taurus eclipses in the last 2 years is that this is an out of sign eclipse, meaning the nodes of destiny are no longer in Taurus and Scorpio. So when we had the eclipse back in the spring and also last year, the nodes themselves were in Taurus and Scorpio. So what that essentially means is that this is an energy we've already been fading out. This isn't going to be some dramatic new thing that comes into your life or this new change that you didn't see coming. It's kind of like, all right, I knew this moment was going to come eventually, and the time is here. So it's an out of sign eclipse. Now, it's very closely related to the one that we had on the astrological new year. And why do I say that? Because on the astrological new year, we had a new moon in Aries. And that was an eclipse in Aries and Libra, the next cycle. But the nodes were still in Taurus and Scorpio. So let me kind of break that down and say that one more time in a different way to help you understand how they're related. The new moon was in March. The full moon is happening now. Both of them were eclipses. The new moon was in Aries, the new cycle. The full moon happening now in Taurus is the old cycle. But at the new moon in Aries, the beginning of the new cycle, the nodes were still in Taurus and Scorpio. And now at the full moon in Taurus, the wrapping up of this cycle, the nodes are already in the new cycle. So it's a complete inversion. It's a complete opposite. Everything is different, but yet it's the same. It's just a switching of roles. So it's this bending and changing of energy from one thing to another, graduating, right? Changing your relationship to the world and to your experience. So essentially, it's like, what did I learn the last 18 months? What have I perfected? What have I gained? What knowledge or experience has come my way? And how am I going to put that towards Aries, my main character, my next chapter, prioritizing myself, my dreams, my visions, my passions? Like I'm putting all that I've learned and all that I've experienced and all that is eclipsed in and out of my life towards the final thing for me, that thing that is meant for me, my main character energy. So I love this. It is such a huge moment in the shift for all of us. And there's just one more thing we have to accomplish. Now, remembering whenever we're talking about Taurus, we're talking about our resources, our money, the things that we find pleasurable to us. This is really about, our assets. It's about the things that we need to get to the next chapter. Now, Taurus is an earth energy. So there is this slow, steady, present moment awareness, looking at our life and looking at the things that we need. What am I smelling? What am I tasting? What am I hearing? What am I surrounding myself with? What is bringing me pleasure so that I feel full and I feel grounded and I feel like I have everything I need to move forward? So we're really looking at tangible, earthly things, slowing down and being really present in the moment. So that is the biggest tip I can give you at the time of this eclipse is slow down, be present, and honor your earthly experiences and the resources you have around you. It's not about getting more money. It's not about getting more opportunities. It's not getting more. We are honoring what we have and what we've been given for the last 18 months. Now, what also makes it really unique for 2023, even though we've had eclipses in this area of sky for the last 18 months, is the fact for this final hurrah, this final eclipse in Taurus, Jupiter has showed up. Jupiter entered Taurus back in May. So for the last eclipse we had, he wasn't quite there yet. And now he's here in Taurus, full and present, bringing his energy of expansion and growth and just releasing in a big, big way. So that's very unique out of all the eclipses we've had so far in this area of the sky. The last one has Jupiter present. So with that, let's dive a little bit into the specifics. I'm going to pull up the chart. If you have your birth chart handy, I'm going to give you some degree points. You can look to see if any of this is impacting your chart. And after we do the specifics, I'll break down the rising sign one by one and what relationships in your life are going to be impacted the most. So as we pull up the chart, we locate again the sun and the moon. We see them at 5 degrees of Scorpio and Taurus. That's how we know it's a full moon. Now, how we know it's an eclipse is because the nodes of destiny, which we see as the little horseshoes, are very close to the sun and the moon. So where we have the sun and the moon at 5 degrees, we have the horseshoes close by at 24 degrees of Aries and Libra. Now, again, they're out of sign. We're calling this an out of sign eclipse because they're not in Scorpio and Taurus, but they're nearby. They're next door. They're close enough to give their energy to and to assist. So we call this a partial eclipse, an out of sign eclipse. Now, something really big that's happening at this time in the sky is that Pluto is heavily influencing this full moon. And remember, Pluto is about destruction. It's about death and rebirth. It's about transformation. He's about going deep, deep down into the nitty gritty and dredging it up and helping us see and uncover things so that we can move forward, so we can have a rebirth, so we can really have this sense of renewal and rejuvenation in our life. So Pluto is over at 27 degrees of Capricorn. He is out of retrograde, which means he's in his power. He's moving forward and he's making this very loose square. Remembering squares are hard aspects, decision-making, tension points. It's a time where we have to make a decision. Are we going to go left or right? And since Pluto is all about transformation, he is heavily impacting this full moon of saying it's time to let go. It's time to get out of your comfort zone. It's time to graduate. And it can feel like time is standing still. It can feel like a really sobering moment of like, dang, if I don't take this step, if I don't take this leap, if I don't do the thing I need to do as the main character of my life, I'm going to be stuck in school. I'm going to be stuck in this old pattern. I'm going to be stuck and I don't want to be stuck anymore. So we're walking forward even if we have to go with fear. Now, what I do with all my new and full moon videos after we locate the lunation on the chart is we always look for the ruling planet, right? What life coach planet is pulling the strings, is the one responsible for what we're learning at this time. And that is Venus, because Venus rules Taurus. She is the landlord of Taurus. As the moon is going to be full in the sky in Taurus, that's Venus's home. And so it's very relationship focused. Remember, Venus is about our relationships. So what brings me joy? What brings me pleasure? What people do I want to keep around? We see Venus is in Virgo at 18 degrees. And that is her being analytical, her being picky, her looking at things through a microscope and really, assessing, does this serve me? Is this good for me? So we really have kind of like our head and our heart kind of aligning and figuring out, is this good? What should I do moving forward? And so Venus is really helping us look at the data and the facts. Now, also, like I mentioned, we have a conjunction and pile-ups in the sky in Scorpio and Taurus that are really potentizing this release and let go and this final ending. And that is the fact that we have Mars and Mercury conjunct in the sky, right? We have Mercury at 10 degrees and Mars at 11 degrees of Scorpio. Mercury is our mind. It's how we express, it's how we communicate, it's how we share information. And Mars is the toddler under 7. It's the warrior. It's the one that wants to fight. It's the one that wants to take action. So we have to be very careful with our words at this time. We have to be very careful with how we're saying things, how we're ending things, how we're breaking things up. Like, we just might be very hot and very volatile, because if we're going to go in on an argument, if we're going to go in on a conversation, we're going to go all in. We're going to wrap it up. It's going to be the final one of the final one. And you're going to want to speak all your truth, lay it all out on the table, say everything you have to say. And that can go really, really deep because it's in Scorpio, very deep. So just know that conversations and arguments at this time are going to come with a lot of frustration, aggravation, but like it needs to be out there. So just be careful. Also, problems you thought may have been solved or may have been wrapped up might come up one more time. This is the final time you're going to have that conversation. It's the final time you're going to implement the boundary. It's the final time. So you're like, gosh, I thought we were over this. But it might come up one more time for you to just lay it out there. Now, we can also see here in the sky that Jupiter is involved. Jupiter is opposite Mercury, opposite Mars. And remember, Jupiter is filled with peer pressure. So whatever energy he's around, he's going to blow it up. He's going to expand it. He's going to make it bigger. So it's like, more fights, more heat, more volatile, like really just moving through things on a large dramatic scale so that it's done. So it's over with. It's not this petty thing. It's a big thing. And it's clear where you stand by the time that it's over. And just remember that Jupiter is retrograde. So we're not really feeling abundant. We're not feeling lucky. We're not feeling blessed. When Jupiter is retrograde, it's going inward and appreciating all that we've been given thus far, appreciating our own resources, our own strength, our own ability. It's stop and smell the roses. Be grateful. Be grateful that this is happening. Be grateful the tough conversation is finally occurring. Like, be grateful for what has happened thus far so that you can step into the new. So that's a lot that's going on in the sky, remembering that there's new chapters to unfold. There's a lot of shifts. November is going to be a very scorpionic month. So as soon as this full moon is over, we have a lot of planets piling up in Scorpio, which is about rebirth, about transformation, about going deep, about tapping into our intuition, about our soul's inner knowing, a lot of uncovering and investigating and researching. And so there's a lot of work to be done as this eclipse wraps up. And you're going to be feeling this energy all the way until like November 11th. So if nothing happens exactly around the eclipse, it could still play out over the course of the next 2 weeks until we get to mid-November, because there's a lot of energy in the sky that's still around the ecliptic energy. So with that, let's go through each rising sign one by one, and let's talk about what relationships in your life, or what areas of your life specifically, you're releasing and letting go, the chapter that's ending, the change that needs to happen, what relationships you're kind of graduating from and moving on into the next area of your life. So starting out with Aries Risings. Aries Risings, this full moon lunar eclipse happening in Taurus is wrapping up a cycle in your second house. This is relationships that deal with business, making income. It could be clients, people that provide resources and assets to you. It is people that you are in connection with to make money with. And this chapter, this area of your life has been getting a lot of attention. Maybe you bought a new car. Maybe you've bought a new Louis Vuitton bag that you've been dying to have for a long time. Maybe you've acquired more connections with people. And it's time to kind of move away from that. You've been given all that you need, all the income and assets and resources that you need. And now you're going to move towards yourself. The new eclipse cycle is going to be all around the self and focusing on your identity and how you want to show up with the world. So you're moving away from other people and how they've benefited you, and more towards yourself and everything that you need and how you want to show up and shine in the world. Taurus risings. This eclipse is happening in your first house, meaning we are wrapping up a cycle with who you are. You've rebirthed the new identity. It's all about you coming out and shining bright, showing the world who you are. Maybe you've changed the way that you dress. Maybe you've changed your social media. Maybe you've changed something physically on your body. You've gotten, plastic surgery or cut your hair or done something physically, and now people are going to relate to you different. See that as your graduation, right? It's like, this is the new me, this is my new style, and now people are going to be like, wow, they look so professional, wow, they've grown up, wow, like this is the person I want to marry, right? Your identity is changing the way people relate to you, and you're graduating on to the next thing. And now the eclipses are moving into your 12th house. So this is about working behind the scenes and moving into the next chapter where you're going to do projects and take that main character energy and focus on yourself and your limiting beliefs and what is blocking you from being your main character. What are the stories you tell yourself that aren't serving you? Gemini Rising. This full moon eclipse is happening in your 12th house, meaning you are going to be working on moving away from the worst enemy of yourself. You have been self sabotaging, you've been overcoming fears and limitations, you've been overcoming a mental game that's been blocking you from having relationships in the world. You've been working behind the scenes on healing yourself. It's your own inner demons. And now you're going to be moving into new social circles, new groups of people as you come out and you share with the world who you are, and you feel stronger and you feel more connected. You're really going to work into the next cycle of Aries and Libra around your friendships, finding new acquaintances. Who are your people? Aligning with new people. It's a beautiful graduation out of your head, out of your self sabotage, and out into the world in connection and community. Beautiful, beautiful energy for Gemini risings. Cancer risings, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in your friendship circle. You are letting go, or you have been letting go for the last 18 months, the people you associate with. Maybe you're a mom and you've been, only in mom groups, and now you're an entrepreneur and now you want to have, new groups of people that you found that are business minded. You've changed your friendship circles in the last 18 months. And now that is going to lead you into the next cycle of Aries and Libra, which is about relationships in your career and in your professional life. So maybe these new people you've associated with and new groups of people in your life are helping you professionally in your career and helping you shine brighter, because that's the next chapter, and where your main character energy is going to shine is in your professional life. Beautiful energy. Leo risings, this wrapping up of a cycle with the full moon eclipse is about letting go around your career and your professional life. This is a work family dynamic you've been going through for the last 18 months. Changes in your career that's affecting your family life, maybe moving your family for your career. It's all been about work and family, and the relationships in those two areas of your life. And that is coming to a close. You have found balance. You figured out how you want it to look for the next 18 months. And now we're going to focus that energy instead around your learning, your mentorship. You're going to find people that are going to help guide you in this next chapter. This is about tapping into your belief system and finding people to mentor you after you found this balance and how you want your life to look moving forward, and finding a mentor or someone that can help you bring stability to it and really build it in a way that feels good for you. Virgo risings, this final lunar eclipse in Taurus is wrapping up a chapter in your life around your church, around learning, around gaining wisdom, gaining knowledge. You've really been in this higher conscious mind. And so really relating to people that have similar belief systems to you, maybe people in your life that have changed your thoughts and patterns around the world at large. Maybe you've gone through a mentorship program. Maybe you've been in school and you've been working with a professor. Maybe you've been working with a spiritual healer or a shaman, or you've been going on retreats. You've really been learning a lot. And the relationships in your life have been teaching you a lot. And now we're going to go into the next chapter where you're going to focus on relationships around assets and sharing money with people investing in you, people, in an intimate level where you are kind of merging your life with people. There could be a lot new sexual experiences, occult experiences, going deeper into like the metaphysical woo-woo world. So you're going to meet more people that are going to take you deeper and create more intimacy in your life in the next Aries and Libra chapter, and you wrapping up the mentorship and the learning you've done to get you to this next point. Now, my Libra risings, this full moon lunar eclipse is wrapping up a cycle for the last 18 months in your 8th house. This is your house of partnership. This is your significant other's money. This is investors, inheritances, people you share money with, you share resources with, someone you share a house with, someone you share a business with, someone that you have to share an inheritance with. Deep, intimate connections about these taboo subjects is something that's come up in your relationships. And you're graduating, you found peace, you found closure, you don't need them anymore, you split the inheritance. It's been a challenging life, it's been very intimate. And now you're graduating with that, and now you're moving more into a connection, a partnership, people that feel really good in your life, people that are bringing this like longevity of relationships, people I can like be with for a long period of time. Maybe you're now going to get married. Maybe you're now going to find new friends that you connect with on a deep level. Maybe you're going to find a business partner, someone to collaborate with on a project. That's your next upcoming cycle. But you had to go through the money stuff and the hard stuff and the challenging stuff and the taboo stuff to get there. So maybe you've been in a sexual entanglement and now you've graduated from that, and now you're going to get married, or you're going to move on to that deeper level of commitment. Or maybe you've, shared an inheritance with your siblings, and now that that's panned out, you're now going to be able to create a better friendship with them and a more committed relationship versus having one because you connected through your parents' money or something like that. Scorpio risings. Oh, I feel you. I have been in this struggle as fixed energy. This is putting this final lunar eclipse, wrapping up an 18-month cycle in your 7th house of marriage, of deep commitment, of partnership, of collaboration. It has been an 18 months of figuring out who you want to be in partnership with. Who do you want to marry? Do you still want to be married? Who are the people that you can really connect with on a deep level? It's been a struggle, and how that balances with you and your identity. This has been you versus we, and back and forth. And you're graduating, you found peace, you have closure, you're going to let this go, and you're graduating to the next area of your life, which is all about your day to day. Who is in your life day to day? What does that look like? Maybe you're really struggling in your marriage or your committed partnership, and you're finding rhythm, you're finding balance. You wake up together at the same time, you have hobbies together, maybe you've gotten a pet together, and you're moving forward into building routine and commitment on a day to day with the people that you created a long-term commitment around. Sagittarius rising, this full moon lunar eclipse is wrapping up a cycle in your 6th house. These are the people that you have been surrounded with on a day-to-day basis that you see every single day. These are your coworkers. These are, of course, your pets, but your daily life, the lady at the coffee shop that you see every single day, your personal trainer, your nutritionist, your coach, your therapist. Who are the relationships in your life that have been there to serve you on a day-to-day? And you're kind of moving away, you're graduating from that. You maybe don't need that guidance or assistance anymore. Maybe you're now going to focus more in the next chapter as we move into Aries and Libra, more on the people you want to have fun with, because the eclipses are moving into your 5th house of Aries and Libra. So who do you want to have fun with? Maybe you join a sports team. Maybe you want to have more creative projects. So the people in your day-to-day life are graduating in and out of your life at this time so that you can have more people in your life that you have fun with, and less about hard day-to-day things and more about joy and fun. So I love that for you, Sagittarius risings. Now, my Capricorn risings, the relationships that are kind of wrapping up around this full moon lunar eclipse for you have really been around children, about pregnancy, around people you have fun with, people you have a creative project with. Maybe you wrote a book with someone, sports teams, people that you have hobbies with. Maybe you've been playing pickleball. Maybe you have been in a football league. Maybe there's an art club or a book club or something you've been doing for fun and joy, and you're graduating out of that. You're realizing you need to move into the next chapter and change things. It could be working with children. It could be your own children are graduating and moving out of the house. A lot of shifts around these relationships. And now the next chapter is going to bring more of a focus on your family, maybe the family you were born into, your parents. Maybe it's around the family dynamics in your home, who lives in your home. Maybe it's ancestral trauma, ancestral stuff that you're going to be working on. That is the next chapter for you as Aries and Libra moves into your family life. Now, my Aquarius risings, this full moon lunar eclipse is wrapping up the relationships in your life that are related to your family, the one that you were born with, the one that you've created in this lifetime. That could be friends who become family, ancestors, and you've really been focusing on, attention around these areas of life and moving away from work. Maybe you've retired and now you're focusing on your elderly parents. Maybe you've done some ancestral trauma healing, moving through these things, and you're wrapping up this chapter. And now you're moving towards the next chapter of Aries and Libra around your mind. You might want to go back to school. You might want to learn something. You're going to focus more with your siblings and your neighbors. You're going to come to people that are more around you versus in your home. And lastly, my Pisces risings, this full moon lunar eclipse is wrapping up a cycle around your siblings, your neighborhood, the people in your general area. So maybe you've had a lot of, new neighbors. Maybe you moved and you've had to build new relationships with them. Maybe you've had challenging neighbors and you've been having to work through that. Maybe it's around your siblings as you grow older and you're changing and keeping a connection going with them. Maybe there's been fights in your family with siblings, and we're wrapping that up and we're moving forward now into the new eclipse cycle in your financial sector. We're now going to focus on the people in your life that can benefit you with resources and assets and income and help you build a stronger, more stable foundation. So that is all the rising signs. I hope you enjoy me taking a relationship perspective on your rising sign, because I truly believe that relationships are the most important thing to us. And as a relational astrologer, my main goal is just to help you understand this cosmic energy and what's going on out there in the world, how it's impacting us on a personal level, and how it's probably impacting the people around us. So remembering that whatever I mentioned in your rising sign, this isn't the only area of your life that is being affected. As we look at the chart, we can see there's planets all over the sky. So we're just pointing out kind of this little area, this little pocket where shifts are taking place. But that doesn't mean things aren't happening in your marriage. If I talked about your family, or if I talked about your career, that something isn't happening in your friendship circle. Planets are moving in and out of each area of our life constantly. And depending on our own unique birth chart, that's going to look different for all of us. So the rising sign forecast is a general overview. Let me know if any of it resonates with you. Let me know if you have any questions. I love doing like mini sessions, like 30-minute sessions where we can talk more specifically about your chart. You are so unique, and how the energy impacts you is so different to anyone else around you. So we're going to wrap this up with some activities and rituals that you can do around the time of this full moon to maximize this energy. So the first thing I would do is share your resources, share your wealth. We're talking about Taurus, the bull, the financial area. We've been given so much. We've gained so much as this north node. The energy of moving forward and accumulating things into our life has been in Taurus. So we have more than enough. I want you to remember that as we go out with a bang, we have been given so much. And that may not look like something you've wanted. It might not be $1 million in your bank account, but maybe you've gained a lot of connections. Maybe you got a new car and that allows you to make that $1 million, right? I want you to realize that you've been given so much abundance and wealth during the last 18 months. So count your blessings and share your resources. So maybe you have extra clothes and now you give it away to, a domestic violence shelter. Maybe you have an abundance of something and you donate it. Share your resources, share your time. Maybe it's just your time, and do an activity around that. So volunteering or donating something. The second thing I would do is do some releasing. Make space, make space, make space in your calendar, make space in your mind, declutter things in your house. Really ask yourself, what can I live without? Because once we release and we let go, we open space for new. And so this is a very pivotal time in the cosmos where we got to clear the runway and we got to remove things. So ask yourself, do I want this? Do I not? Do I want to take it with me, or I'm holding it out of scarcity? So release some things out of your energetic field. And the last and final thing I would do around this full moon in Taurus, because Taurus rules Mother Nature, it rules the earth, is I would get outside. Get outside, go for a walk, go to the forest, go to a lake. It doesn't matter where it is, but be with Mother Nature. Taurus is really about being present and slowing down and being steady and going to the things that we can rely on. We can rely on the sun giving us life and growing the plants. We can rely on water keeping us hydrated. We can rely on the beauty of nature, whether it is winter or summer or fall. So get out in nature. It's going to be so soothing and aligning for your soul around this chaotic time as we're shifting and changing so much in our lives. And I hope that helps you. Please let me know in the comments below if any of this resonates, if you enjoy this type of video, any questions that you have or anything you would want me to talk more about on this channel. I would be happy to take any kind of suggestions. If you want more content, you can follow me over at TikTok at The Relational Astrologer, where I do more short format videos. And also, I wanted to give a little reminder to my community that I am currently working on the 2024 Astrology Retrograde Journal. This will be my 4th edition. I've been doing it since 2020, and really looking at the year ahead with your journal prompts, your new ritual ideas, and really customizing it for the year ahead. So if you're looking forward to getting a copy of that, pre-sale will go live right around the time of this eclipse as we move into the new energy, and I can get it to you by November, way in advance of the holidays. So if you're looking for a gift idea, or you just want to have it in advance for your Astro Forecast event, if you're looking to book a reading for the upcoming year, that will also be open in my calendar. And a lot of people like to have their journal in their hand before we do that reading so they can take notes. So those are my 2 announcements, and I'm just going to send you so much love and light as we move through this eclipse energy. And just remember, we've gone through a lot of relationship stuff. This is kind of that shifting and changing, and just honor that within yourself. Honor that as people around you start changing. And remember, we're all trying to focus more on our main character energy. So with love and light, I will catch you in the next video.